Eso no es historia. I'm going to spy Ilia Topuria like
This isn't just another featherweight fight brewing. This is about to be the most explosive collision in MMA history, and one fighter is already training like his life depends on it.
Full game's on point.
He's sharp. His technique is flawless. Everything's flawless. His boxing is so dangerous. He's so dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous with submissions. He's dangerous with kicking. He's dangerous.
We're talking about Ilia Topuria, a man who doesn't just win fights, he obliterates legends. And right now, he's locked in full beast mode, preparing for what everyone's calling pure mayhem against Justin Gaethje. But here's what's wild. From the absolute first day this camp started, only one name has been burned into Topuria's brain. Gaethje. No backup plans, no safety nets, no cautious game planning. This is straight-up preparation for war on the biggest stage in combat sports. The analysts are already going crazy trying to figure out what happens when Topuria's surgical precision meets Gaethje's chaotic violence. And as training footage starts leaking online, it's becoming crystal clear. This fight is already being carved into MMA history before any contract gets signed.
He fought this dude, Jai Herbert, and he went up to 155 for that fight. So he's a 45-pounder, and he said, fuck it, I'll take a fight at 55. He gets head kicked in the first round by... Jai Herbert is a nasty stand-up fighter. He's so good. He's real slick. He's real good stand-up, like real sharp stand-up. And he caught Topuria with the perfect head kick. And Topuria, he's in real trouble. He got dropped. And he scrambled, got a hold of him. Next round, sent him into the dark lands. Blasted him against literally slept him. Face planted him. And walk-off KO. He's an animal, dude. He's a real problem. Because he's intelligent, he's dedicated, he's driven, he's got that kind of confidence that those championship guys have, where they know they're the best even before they're the best. He knew.
But let me tell you why this matchup is absolutely terrifying for everyone involved. According to Joe Rogan, the first real sign that Topuria was something completely different came during his lightweight debut against Jai Herbert. This fight should have ended Topuria's hype train before it even started. Herbert caught him clean with a perfectly timed head kick that would have put most fighters to sleep permanently. We're talking about the kind of shot that sends your soul to another dimension. But here's where Topuria showed he's not like other fighters. Instead of crumbling, instead of panicking, he did something that made Rogan's jaw drop. He processed that devastating blow like it was just information. Data to be analyzed and adapted to. Within seconds, he completely flipped the script, and by the end of that fight, Herbert was laid out cold on the canvas.
Tactically, he's so smart. So it's not just his ability, his skill, it's knowing when to apply it and how to adjust to different kinds of fighters. But the Jai Herbert one might have been the most impressive one. Dude, see if we can find that. He got head kicked. He gets hits with a switch high kick off the left leg right to the face, man. Like this, he just dropped, which is, 99 times out of 100.
Now get this, Rogan's breakdown of that moment was absolutely brutal in its honesty. He didn't just see a dangerous fighter that night. He witnessed something far more terrifying. A composed assassin with the kind of unshakable confidence that true champions only develop after they've already conquered multiple divisions. That level of self-assurance, that ability to turn disaster into dominance, that's not taught in any gym. You're either born with it or you're not. And Topuria, he's got it in spades. But what really separated this performance from every other comeback story was the timing. Rogan emphasized that Topuria doesn't just possess incredible skill. He has this supernatural understanding of exactly when to deploy every weapon in his arsenal.
There's a couple of things in that fight where that pissed me off, but we get on with it. It's done now. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can go back and change. I just hope that in the future, he can step up and have a rematch with me. But it's one of them. I know he's on the arse end of his career, so if he does end up just fighting Ilia and fighting Max or something and retiring, it's one of them. I'll have learned a lot from losing.
Here's where it gets absolutely insane, though. Justin Gaethje isn't waiting around for official announcements or promotional build-up. He's speaking with the conviction of a man who knows this fight is already a done deal. Gaethje is targeting June at the White House, and he's making it clear that winning that interim belt was just the entry fee to get to this exact moment. His callout to Topuria was direct as a straight right hand. You better be ready, because this isn't about negotiations anymore. This is about what's coming next. But even as Gaethje throws down this gauntlet, MMA legend Daniel Cormier is already jumping in with a stern warning. DC is practically begging his friend Justin not to try the Max Holloway blueprint against Topuria. He's remembering how every single strike mattered in Gaethje's war with Charles Oliveira, how Charles absorbed devastating punishment even as he was going down.
His timing, his instincts, his instinct to fire off in like his counterattacks. You know, he'll make you pay for every step you take. It's a hard fight.
Yeah,
Things
man.
have got to change in Gaethje's camp to make the fight competitive.
Yeah.
Right now, the Gaethje that fought Paddy won't beat Ilia right now.
Yeah.
But that's not saying that we'll see that Gaethje when he fights Ilia.
And listen to this part. Cormier's point is painfully obvious to anyone who understands fighting. Gaethje might be tough as they come, but Topuria is exactly the type of fighter who will exploit every single mistake and turn it into a fight-ending sequence. DC is literally yelling at his friend, warning him that Topuria is a completely different beast than anyone he's faced before. But then Chael Sonnen introduces a thought that's got everyone questioning everything. Is Topuria's fame actually earned, or is it just momentum from one massive victory? Sonnen points out this fascinating anomaly. Beating Charles Oliveira launched Topuria into superstardom, but that same achievement didn't create the same buzz for Arman Tsarukyan or Islam Makhachev. Why is Topuria different? What makes his story so much more compelling?
I feel like he has to be at the top of my list almost at the very tippy top.
We didn't see enough.
Because of the work he did, though.
But wait, it gets even more interesting. Paddy Pimblett, who actually fought Gaethje himself, understands exactly what Justin brings to the cage. And Paddy is betting that Gaethje's relentless pressure style might be enough to rip that undisputed championship away from Topuria. Pimblett isn't just cheering from the sidelines. He's already considering a rematch with Gaethje down the line, which tells you everything about how seriously he takes Justin's chances. This isn't just about two fighters settling a score. This is about a battle-tested warrior trying to dethrone a king who might not be as untouchable as everyone thinks.
And Max. And Volk's at the tippy top of my list because it's Volk. Okay, he has ran that division since day dot, and it's.
Hold up, though, because Robert Whittaker has a completely different take that's going to blow your mind. The former champion sees Topuria as a massive step up from anyone Gaethje has faced recently. In Whittaker's expert opinion, Ilia's striking alone is vastly superior to the rest of the featherweight division. We're talking about jiu-jitsu level timing and intuition in his stand-up that's simply unmatched. Every advance an opponent makes risks a devastating counter. Every perceived opening is potentially a trap. For Gaethje to even survive against Topuria, Whittaker believes Justin's training camp must reach completely new heights. The Gaethje who beat Pimblett simply isn't ready for El Matador. Now here's the kicker that's got the entire MMA world losing their minds. Whittaker isn't just offering casual praise about Topuria, he's placing him at number 2 in UFC featherweight history. Think about that for a second. For years, Volkanovski and Holloway were the undisputed kings of that division. They systematically destroyed almost every opponent they faced, only struggling when they fought each other. It was a two-man show at the top. Then Topuria crashes the party and doesn't just beat one of them, he demolishes both in their absolute prime. He's not just collecting wins, he's rewriting the entire conversation about featherweight dominance. But here's what makes this even crazier. Legends like Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo are recognizing the massive potential of a White House main event between Topuria and Gaethje. Picture this scenario: an American warrior fighting on home soil, defeating the Spanish sensation in front of a packed arena. That wouldn't just be a victory, it would be a cultural moment. This fight has transcended sports and become something bigger. A clash where history and athletic excellence converge in front of the world's attention. The questions everyone's asking aren't just about technique or game plans anymore. They're about legacy, about national pride, about who gets to write the next chapter of featherweight history. And get this, Jorge Masvidal sees Topuria as genuinely exceptional, acknowledging that while Ilia has limited time at 145 pounds, just a few more victories could make his legacy completely unassailable. From Masvidal's experienced perspective, Topuria has already accomplished what very few can claim. He's beaten both Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski at the height of their powers. Not just beaten them, but finished them in devastating fashion. Max had never been knocked out before Topuria, and the clinical way Ilia took him out was absolutely cold. The same logic applies to Volk, who is coming off a title defense and looking incredible. Masvidal's point is simple but terrifying. If Topuria stays at featherweight and racks up 1 or 2 more definitive wins, you have to consider him the greatest of all time in that division. Here's where it gets wild though. Masvidal believes a fight with Gietch would give Topuria the perfect stage to display his devastating power. He thinks these other contenders are just tiers beneath Ilia, and that last performance against Holloway proved it. On the ground, on the feet, attacking, defending, Topuria looked like he was operating in a completely different world. The feeling is that if Gietch steps in there, he's going to get folded like a lawn chair. But despite all this hype and unwavering belief in Topuria, Rafael Fiziev brings some much-needed reality to the conversation. Regarding a potential Gietch matchup, Fiziev admits he'd personally avoid it, pointing to Justin's age approaching 38 and the visible wear from his recent wars. So there you have it. The most anticipated featherweight clash in years is brewing, with Topuria looking to cement his legacy as the division's new king, while Gietch sees one last shot at undisputed gold. This isn't just about belts or rankings anymore, it's about who controls the future of 145 pounds, and whether an American warrior can dethrone the Spanish assassin on home soil. The training footage is already going viral, the callouts are getting more intense, and every expert has a different prediction about how this violence unfolds. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Does Gietch's relentless pressure overcome Topuria's surgical precision, or is this just another legend about to get added to Ilia's highlight reel? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake in this potential superfight, smash that like button, subscribe for more MMA breakdowns, and hit that notification bell because this story is just getting started. I'll see you in the next one. But before we close the book on this analysis, let me tell you something that's going to change how you view this entire matchup. While everyone's debating styles and advantages, there's a psychological warfare element brewing that nobody's talking about. Topuria isn't just training his body for this fight. He's already inside Gietch's head, and he doesn't even realize it yet. Every single training video that leaks, every interview where Ilia discusses his game plan with that cold, calculating confidence, it's building pressure on Justin that goes way beyond anything he's experienced before. Think about it this way, Gietch has always thrived as the hunter, the underdog, the guy nobody expected to win. His entire career has been built on proving doubters wrong and shocking the world with his violent comebacks. But against Topuria, he's walking into completely uncharted territory. For the first time in years, Justin is facing a fighter who genuinely believes he's levels above him. Not just confident, not just prepared, but genuinely convinced that Gietch represents nothing more than another stepping stone toward greatness. That kind of unwavering belief from an opponent can be absolutely devastating to a fighter's psyche. Here's what's really fascinating though, Topuria's team has been studying Gietch's fights with an obsession that borders on scary. They've identified something in Justin's pattern that most analysts have completely missed. In every single one of Gietch's wars, there's a specific moment where his aggression becomes predictable. It usually happens around the second or third round when the adrenaline starts wearing off and muscle memory takes over. Topuria's coaches believe they've found the exact timing where Justin becomes most vulnerable to counters, and they're drilling scenarios specifically designed to capitalize on that window. But here's where this gets absolutely mind-blowing. According to sources close to the Topuria camp, they're not just preparing for one version of Gietch, they're preparing for 3 completely different fighters. Version 1 is the patient, technical Gietch who picks his shots and fights behind a disciplined jab. Version 2 is the wild, swinging Gietch who throws caution to the wind and turns every exchange into a firefight. And version 3 is the desperate Geith who realizes he's behind on the scorecards and starts taking massive risks to secure a finish. The scary part? Topuria's team believes they have specific counters for all 3 versions, and they've been drilling each scenario until it becomes pure instinct. Meanwhile, Geith's preparation is taking a completely different approach that's got his training partners genuinely concerned. Instead of focusing on technical adjustments or new strategies, Justin is doubling down on what got him this far: pure, unfiltered violence. His sparring sessions have become legendary for their intensity, with multiple partners getting dropped during preparation. But here's the problem that veteran coaches are starting to whisper about. Geith might be preparing for the wrong fight entirely. He's training to break Topuria's will through sheer brutality, but what happens if Ilia doesn't break? What happens if all that punishment just makes the Spanish assassin more dangerous? This brings us to a crucial point that Daniel Cormier mentioned but didn't fully explore. Topuria's recovery ability isn't just good, it's supernatural. Medical experts who have analyzed his previous fights point to something they call adaptive resilience. Most fighters either have a good chin or good recovery, but rarely both at an elite level. Topuria seems to possess this rare combination where he can absorb significant damage, process it immediately, and actually use that information to become more dangerous as the fight progresses. It's like he gets smarter and more precise the more chaos gets thrown at him. Now here's something that's going to shock you about the financial stakes of this fight. Industry insiders are projecting that a Topuria versus Geith main event could generate pay-per-view numbers that rival some of the biggest fights in UFC history. The reason isn't just about the fighters, it's about the storylines converging at the perfect moment. You've got the Spanish sensation looking to prove he's the real deal against an American warrior fighting on home soil. You've got a technical assassin versus a violent brawler. You've got youth and precision against experience and power. These are the ingredients that create legendary fights, and the UFC knows it. But there's also massive pressure on both fighters that goes beyond anything they've experienced before. For Topuria, this isn't just about defending his title, it's about proving that his meteoric rise wasn't a fluke. The critics are already circling, suggesting that beating Holloway and Volkanovski might have been lucky timing rather than skill. A decisive victory over Geith would silence those doubts forever and establish him as a legitimate superstar. But a loss. That would send him tumbling back into the pack of contenders, questioning everything about his championship reign. For Geith, the stakes are even higher because this might genuinely be his last realistic shot at undisputed gold. At 37 years old with significant mileage on his body, Justin can't afford to wait for another opportunity. His recent wars with Oliveira and others have taken a toll that's becoming more visible with each training session. His team knows that if he doesn't capture the title now, his window might close permanently. That kind of desperation can make a fighter extremely dangerous, but it can also lead to critical mistakes when the pressure peaks. Here's what's really interesting about the technical matchup that most analysts are overlooking. Everyone focuses on Topuria's precision versus Geith's power, but the real battle might happen in the clinch. Both fighters have devastating weapons in close quarters, but they use them in completely different ways. Topuria is surgical with his elbows and knees, picking specific targets to maximize damage. Geith is more chaotic but equally effective, using brute force to overwhelm opponents who try to tie him up. The fighter who can impose their clinch game might control the entire fight. And speaking of technical details, there's one aspect of Topuria's game that has Geith's team genuinely worried: his ability to switch stances seamlessly while maintaining power in both hands. Most southpaws lose significant effectiveness when they switch to orthodox, but Topuria actually becomes more unpredictable. He can throw power shots from angles that orthodox fighters don't expect, and his footwork allows him to create openings that simply shouldn't exist. Geith has never faced a fighter with that level of ambidextrous skill, and it's forcing his team to completely rethink their defensive strategies. But here's the wild card that nobody's talking about. The referee assignment for this fight could literally determine the outcome. If they get a referee who allows clinch work and dirty boxing, that favors Geith's style. If they get someone who keeps the action at distance and penalizes excessive clinching, that plays into Topuria's hands. Both camps are already lobbying behind the scenes for specific officials, knowing that the third man in the cage might be the most important factor in a fight this close. The international implications of this fight are also creating pressure that extends far beyond the octagon. Topuria has become a massive star in Spain and throughout Europe, with viewing parties being planned in major cities across the continent. The Spanish government has even expressed interest in hosting a future Topuria title defense, recognizing the cultural impact he's having. Meanwhile, American fans are rallying behind Geith as their representative, seeing this as a chance to bring the title back to the United States. The nationalistic undertones are adding layers of intensity that both fighters are feeling. Training footage that's leaked from both camps tells a fascinating story about their different approaches to preparation. Topuria's sessions look like chess matches, calculated, precise, with every movement having a specific purpose. His sparring partners are high-level technicians who force him to solve complex puzzles under pressure. Geith's training looks like controlled chaos, explosive, unpredictable, with an emphasis on conditioning and mental toughness. His sparring partners are trying to break him mentally as much as physically, preparing him for the kind of war they expect against Topuria. The medical team requirements for this fight are also unprecedented. Both fighters have requested specific doctors and specialists to be on standby, knowing that this fight has the potential to cause serious damage. Topuria's team has focused on neurological specialists, concerned about the cumulative effect of Geith's power shots. Geith's team has emphasized orthopedic surgeons, worried about the precise targeting that Topuria brings to body shots and joint attacks. It's a sobering reminder that while we celebrate the violence, these athletes are putting their long-term health on the line for our entertainment.